Looking back on 2023, I am struck by just how much public advocate accomplished and how desperate our enemies are becoming. We obviously ended on a very strong note. Many public advocate supporters stepped up to help us meet our fundraising deadline before the end of the year. I cannot thank those selfless donors enough, but we also made coast-to-coast headlines with our presence on the ground in Iowa in the run-up to Christmas. Our original character, MAGA-Claus, was a huge hit, as you've seen from these pictures of him from countless news sites across the country. Our man was there in Iowa to promote traditional family values and the truth that there are only two genders. It's critical that any candidate for President of the United States make these core issues. This year also saw public advocate branching out into new areas of social media. I was able to personally interview numerous national-level activists, like trans survivor Chloe Cole, a young woman who is permanently scarred by the medical treatment she received, and Ryan Webb, the Indiana councilman who exposed the lunacy of the transgender agenda by declaring himself a trans woman of color for a few months. These interviews were promoted across all our many social media platforms and reached millions of viewers. We also saw the rise to national prominence of our hero, Riley Gaines, the young swimmer who won't be silent any longer about the abuse she received from the Homosexual Lobby. With help from public advocate, Riley Gaines has become a nationally recognized voice against trans sports. Even Chloe Cole has seen her media profile greatly elevated ever since she interviewed with me. I could not be prouder of these young women bravely rejecting the lies of the homosexual lobby and suffering the violent backlash that comes with it. Our social media outreach has never been stronger. In 2023, we reached 1.5 million people on Facebook alone, plus 1 million people on YouTube, over 6 million on Twitter, and over 50 million people on Instagram. And we are working on new and exciting ways to make an impact in this space. Our most ambitious project for social media last year had to be our sponsorship of the satire video, Tronos, which was so professionally produced many people can't tell it from the real thing. 2023 also saw the first serious congressional actions to hold Biden's rogue FBI and Justice Department accountable for their illegal targeting of Christian and pro-family Americans, something we had been calling for 2 years. This includes their labeling of concerned parents at school board meetings as domestic terrorists. We have also seen major political and legal victories in Loudoun County, VA, my own backyard, to hold the homosexual lobby and their allies accountable. It was here that a transgender rape was covered up by the school board, allowing the predator to strike a second victim. It was here that the father of the first victim was harassed, arrested, and taken to court only for speaking out in defense of his daughter. It was here that the school board instigated a riot that led to the arrest of public advocate's own Yon Tigis. But now the guilty parties have all been swept from office, and many of them are facing serious criminal charges. Both Yon Tigis and the loving father have been fully exonerated. Myself and my staff put in countless hours to make this happen. Our state-level agenda, first launched when Biden seized power, came to full fruition last year. According to mainstream media accounts, over 500 bills were introduced to limit the radical homosexual agenda, with 84 making it into law. By the summer, Biden's White House was growing so concerned with these state laws that they declared open war on public advocate and the pro-family movement. Biden swore that the federal bureaucracy would do whatever it took to promote transgender medical abuse for children, pornographic books for children, and to destroy girls' athletics with trans athletes. This declaration of war was quietly released at the same time as the first massive wave of indictments was brought against President Trump. That shows just how much the homosexual lobby fears a return of the Trump pro-family legacy to the White House. Meanwhile, the White House has done nothing to protect Christians and conservative Americans from the growing violence of the radical left. Less than a year ago, public advocate warned the FBI for weeks about the scheduled Trans Days of Vengeance coming in late March. Yet they did not take any serious action on this. Even after the Covenant School was attacked by a violent trans person intent on killing Christians, the response from federal authorities has been virtually silent. Nor has there been any effort to protect Christians and pro-family activists on university and college campuses. The violence against Jewish students on major liberal campuses is rightly getting a great deal of attention the last few months. But this has been going on against Christian students for years. In fact, I know that many of the groups currently upset on campuses like Harvard were active participants in the violent censorship of pro-family speakers and students in the past. Free speech must be protected for all. I absolutely agree that it is time for Congress to strip funding from these liberal universities who think they can pick and choose which viewpoints are allowed and which are fair game for violence. But these protections must include Christian students too. Riley Gaines was held hostage for ransom by a liberal homosexual mob at San Francisco State University. To date, not one attacker has been investigated or charged. The police and the school basically told Riley that she was not protected under the law. Congressional action is long overdue. Of course, the biggest challenge from 2023 that is ongoing in the new year is the war against President Trump. The Homosexual Lobby and their allies have tried to bury him under baseless or distracting indictments, and now states are even removing him from the ballot over a Civil War amendment for a crime he's never been convicted of. Public Advocate will be standing behind the former president to help him get a fair shake and a fair chance at being elected in November. Trump is being persecuted now because he fought for the America family so well during his administration. We owe it to him to defend him now.